But what I figured, they probably had them all custom built. And from the models of other computers they had floating around in their iMacs, I think what they were trying to do is they tried to skimp and make their own and realized that they weren't strong enough to do it, and then they ended up ordering those to replace those Avids. Because they didn't want to drop $20,000 on an Avid computer.
No. I wish I had gone higher on that one crate. I got there, it was sitting next to my stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It was brand new.
Was it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was $1,000 box,
Hello, Mr. Art.
They got it for 60.
Hi there.
apparently. 450.
Well, I thought you.
My highest bid
Oh,
was
it's 40.
45, or I guess 35.
So I saw it go up to 50,
Set.
60, I thought.
That was one thing about that. He had horrible pictures.
Oh,
You
yeah.
had no idea what you were actually buying.
Yeah, that's what I was like, those computers, if they had a picture of the back of the computers, would have been more useful than what they gave.
Mhm.
Of all the computers they did have a picture where you could actually read the screen that told you what chip it had in it and all the RAM and everything that had that diagnostic screen. There was 3 other pictures that had that, but they were offset in such an angle, they were too blurry to read.
And one of them they had that was like that, the screen was damaged or something, and it was like, I can't read what this says.
Yeah, the cable needed to be reseated is what I thought, all that I needed, but both the cards that had that, and those were on both the engineering machines that had the engineering graphics card. I think, well, that's, if that's all it is, that cable, because that's not uncommon for those cables to be a little wonky. But I also have several of those cards at home, and like half of those cards have died.
Yeah.
So it is possible that those cards died. If those cards are died, well, then the money on that system is not quite worth,
Well, I kind of looked at all that and I kind of went,
So I didn't bid on them. They ended up going for about.
either the monitor's bad or the video card's bad.
Yeah,
And I was betting on the monitor, but
I was banking on the cable, but without being able to walk up and touch it, I wasn't gonna risk it. But
well,
I
I've
think
seen
that's
plenty
what,
of those cheap Dell monitors, just the red goes out of them or the
yeah,
blue goes out and it's all red or whatever.
well, that was all graphic artifact.
I've dealt with thousands of Dell monitors and I've seen 4 of them fail.
Yeah.
Really?
I
I've seen a bunch of them fail.
I had one fail working in international paper, and it set my house because I took it home and replaced the cat and fixed it. So they told me to pitch it. I was like, oh, you're gonna pitch it? I'll throw out my car. Well, I don't have to pay to dispose of it.
Pick up pitch. It's pitched in my front seat.
Officially disposed.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I ordered the dying capacitor and replaced it. Cost me like $3 to have it shipped, but.
We only had one fail that I wouldn't have bothered trying to fix. And it wasn't really a failure of the monitor. The plug just slowly worked loose.
Oh.
And the woman that was using it said, yeah, the monitor sounded kind of funny for a while. And then it made smoke. And it was just melted. But it did still work. I mean, if you jammed the plug in, it was still perfectly functional.
I've seen some weird stuff, but I haven't seen that happen. So,
I've seen a few screens go out over the years, but that's the only Dell I've ever seen. I
Most-
know it was a red cap because the rest of the screen was fine.
most of the time, yeah, it's either the red or the blue cap that goes out.
Yeah.
And you can tell because the screen will be very, very blue or very, very red. Which one has gone out? I wonder.
Well, the red's the hardest because it's the hottest running, so it's almost always the red goes out on whatever sends TVs.
That's new.
I didn't. Oh, wow.
I don't think that was there the last time we were here.
They're spying on us.
See if you can get that camera tied into.
I've seen plenty of backlights go out.
Yeah. Oh,
Not just on Dell, but
Yeah.
backlights. Just
I
decide.
used to do morning work. I used to replace those. Be lucky you
Have
do one a
you-
month.
Have you ever actually seen one of the fluorescent tubes in the backlight go out and not the board?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On an ancient monitor.
Yeah, I've
It
seen
just-
a couple of them where it was the tube, not the inverter board.
I think I've seen it was probably that on a television once upon a time. But it was not something that we were replacing or fixing anyway, but. And there was a section of it that was just weird, but now I have seen. Where the vertical control board did it.
Yep.
It burnt like a 1/2 inch bar across the top of the television, and the guy was like, and I got, I fixed it, and the rest of the screen came back. Of course, it burned all that phosphorus off the top of that, and then he was like, well, what are you gonna do about that? And I said, there's nothing I can do about that. That's the back of the screen. It's just burnt gone. It's like you're gonna have to get them to, replace your screen and give you another unit, because there's, you left it on too long with it blown.
I saw that a lot on Vizio TVs when I was working on
It
those.
was a video TV.
Mhm.
I only
They
ever
were
saw it
garbage.
once, but oh yeah, they were trash. Well, they're a little
I've got-
better now, but
And
they're
you'd get
still-
out to work on it. They would send the part to the customer and then schedule me to go out and replace the part. And
Nobody
I'd get there and it looked, it's in a perfect box and the board inside looks like it's been run over by a forklift. I like,
I've got a 20, it's not quite 20 years old. Yeah, maybe it is. We've been married for 25. A 20-ish-year-old Vizio 3D TV.
3D.
Works beautiful. It's a
Okay.
beautiful TV. I've kept it around because it's got the 3D. So if I ever want to watch my 3D movies that I was a fool to invest in.
How's that work? Do you have to wear glasses?
so
Shades?
That one works very much like the movie theater 3D, where it's polarized lenses.
Mhm.
And pretty much the movie theater glasses will work with it. So I've snagged, Vizio wanted like $50 a pair for these stupid glasses, and I went to 3D movies and watched 3D movies and went, those are going in my pocket. I'll pay $3. I'll give them the $3 they want for that. But yeah, I
Always wondered how those were. I've never actually seen them. With that.
Well, there's a few different ways to achieve the same thing, and you can have your lenses
Yeah.
flickering at different rates, which a lot of people say will give you a headache if you're sensitive to that sort of thing. And then there's the old method, which is red green, and then you have a red green lens to a red blue. Some of them are red blue.
All dogs.
You can just wear those glasses upside down for 3 hours before the movie and take them off. Works.
What? So this TV, it had a mode. It did support the shutter lenses, but it had a mode where you could tell it to do the anaglyph, what's it called, anaglyph, which is the red, blue, or red, green. And that sort of worked. It's kind of weird because it would separate the picture a little bit and make one side red and one side.
So we're doing that, that's around. Glasses a little bit.
And
I remember watching
had
Charles
it
without
had
the
a
glasses,
split.
and you could see the red, blue, and green. It
Mhm.
just looked like trace lines.
There
without
was
the glasses on.
there's a way to do it with split screen, but I think it uses shutter glasses too. I'm not real sure how the split screen works, but there's a way to do it with split.
That might be prisms,
You
but you've got to be at the right distance from the TV.
This TV would do the split screen, but I mean, they gave you the glasses for the, you know, for the polarized glasses, so doing split screen didn't make any sense. It was like, okay, I see
Sure,
two
yeah.
images.
You got the $500 glasses that go with the split screen. Like a VR rig.
Yeah, that's kind of what this was. It was a big VR thing.
Oh, so I've watched. I got the Oculus Rift, so it's released, but I just threw it on, but I'm impressed with it. In fact, since I brought it in for show.
3D. I got a hold of. What was it, the Quest 2
Yeah,
that the grandkid had?
they just announced they're gonna deprecate that.
Are they? She's got two of them. She's not gonna be very happy.
Yeah. Well, they're coming out with a, they just came out with a 3 or something, I guess. We use it for, do like a VR presentation for work.
Right.
Or something or other. The programmer guy was saying in our Monday meeting that they slated it for deprecation like in 2 more months or something.
Nice.
So they're saying, you know, got to test, you know, what are you gonna use next? Cause they, you know, got 5 of those rigs or something, they don't wanna buy all new helmets.
Oh,
But
I bought,
our joke was it'd probably still be patched for the next couple of years, cause it's only not even a year old,
the
2-year-old or something like that.
the kid needed money, so I bought his Quest 2 for a while, and I used it for a little while.
I don't know, I like the wired.
It,
you
it
know,
was,
off the
it was
computer.
fine, but the best thing I ever did with it was watch movies. And I was like, this is kind of pointless. I'm by myself. Patty can't see the movie I'm watching.
Yeah, well, it's gonna just be another. Then she can watch whatever movie she wants. But
It's kind of pointless. I mean, I'm sitting in here giggling and laughing like a crazy person, and she has no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
If we want to watch a movie, we just put it on the TV and watch a movie. I mean,
I have found that the most entertaining thing I found with the VR rig is being able to have these huge computer screens. Making it like a wall theater level movie experience.
See, your VR rig, when you brought it in here, I was far more impressed with yours than I was with the Quest.
Yeah.
Or the Quest 2 or whatever. The Quest 2 seems like a tool.
Yeah. Well, that's,
And yours seems like an actual useful.
yeah,
Do
there's
something.
a lot of stuff you can do, because you're pumping it from the computer, you can, there's all kinds of more stuff you can do than what you can load on that little SD card or whatever.
Yeah. She had the 120 or gig version or something. I'm like, oh, 1 game would fill that up, right?
Nowadays, yeah.
Okay, so. I was not overly impressed. I kept it. And he eventually bought it back from me because, you know, she wanted it. Like the grandkid wanted it. And then she got another one for Christmas, and it was another Quest 2.
Yeah.
So now she's got 2 of them. But if they're stopping them, she's not going to be happy.
It is, well, it's not that I mean, they're stopping because they're gonna promote the next model, but they'll still have to still work on it. I can't imagine they cut the cold turkey.
I would hope not, because there's way too many people doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Mostly kids. Kids love that stupid thing. I don't get it. I don't get it, but I'm old. I'm not supposed to know stuff.
I wouldn't mind it being wireless, but I never said I just don't see the wireless being was nice.
Anything going on, Mr. Art?
Nothing worth mentioning.
I saw a car out there that looked like a cruiser that had a bunch of 3D printers in the back.
A bunch? A bunch of 3D printers?
3D printers are printing 3D printers while you were in here.
Wow. I only know of one 3D printer. maybe I've got a bunch of them to get rid of. I brought toys,
Yeah.
even if nobody else brought toys, I brought toys.
I'm getting the toys right now.
I almost like Legos. Rotary motors or something.
Those are, yeah, they're, BLCD, BCLD, they're motors. I printed a bunch of benchy boats on my new 3D printer.
So what is the port for?
So this one comes with slip rings,
Really?
so I can mount a camera or something and run it down through the port and out. It's an I2C port, so it's basically a pass through.
So is it tied to this one?
Yes,
Just has a different address? Well, it doesn't
No,
have an
it-
address, it's just tied to.
whatever would plug into it. So I bought the ones with slip rings because I think they were $7 more or $8 more for the one with the slip rings. And I was like, I don't know if I need that feature, but it sure would be nice. But yes, with the Lego mounts, you can mount something on top.
Legos.
And then I figured out, reading the documentation on some of the stuff actually sometimes
Nope.
helps. So I figured out I could have two separate I2C addresses assigned. So it's really just I2C controlling two motors. Two different addresses. But I've got a little.
So how do you set the address, or do they come with different addresses?
So when you,
Programmable?
yeah, when you first turn it on and apply power to it, you got to be holding the button down,
Mhm.
and it will come into a configuration mode,
Cool.
which the original thing I read was hold the button for 3 seconds and it would do it. But no, that's not right. You have to apply power while you're holding the button
For 3 seconds.
for 3 seconds.
I had something.
Wonderful set of instructions from a company that usually does halfway decent about making instructions.
I had something similar to that. That was while powering it on, hold the button for 3 seconds. And at 4 seconds, it just reset and skipped it.
Wonderful.
So, I mean, you had about half a second.
To figure out
2001, 2002,
to figure out
2003.
that it's actually in configuration.
Yeah,
Yeah, luckily this one doesn't do that, but it took me like really looking at the dots. Hold the button. Why isn't it going into configuration mode? Why isn't it doing it? Okay. Maybe I just need to reset. Maybe it's freaking out a little. Hold the power. I went, I'm gonna hold the button and plug the power back in, and sure enough, right into configuration mode. Great.
so how many addresses are there in I2C? 48 or something?
No, there's gotta be 200 and something.
255, okay.
Now, I think it supports up to 255
Cool.
devices, but you need to inject power somewhere along the line. Because that many devices would suck your power down on it, I would think.
Yeah.
I guess depending upon what you're doing. These only have, I think, 4 addresses that you could assign, so you could theoretically have 4 different motors. But, I mean, at least they have assignable.
That's cool.
And I think using the RS 485. I think you can assign. I'd have to look again, but I think it was
4,096. Or 5.
485.
RS 485, but supports 4,095 addresses.
Addresses. Yeah, I think these like 10 or 15 different. So you could, in theory, control more motors over. I can't get this thing to work though. It's another one of these where it almost looks like they released it before the documentation was ready. I'm going.
Well, they need devs to
I'm
figure
re-
out how to write the documentation first.
I'm reading, and I'm going. I did that. Why isn't this working? We'll make this little adapter deal so that you can see. This drives me nuts, but they make this little adapter dealing so you can control at least 2 devices. These only get, when they're off of this bus, they only get power from here.
Okay.
Now, they say to use this to make sure.
Mhm. But then you can't plug in them.
Do you see a problem?
You can't plug them in.
Can't plug them in. They're not going to get power from anywhere.
Does it plug in on the other end? Yeah, on the side maybe? There's no other place to plug it in.
I'm like, seriously, your engineers.
Maybe they're telling you to inject power into that.
Okay, that I will concede that that's possible. But where am I going to inject power at? I mean, the lines go.
Let me see. But yeah, I think when it's covered, they're expecting you to push power into V&G on this. And it's carried to everything else. Because it shows DC power there.
Yeah, it does. But it's an out. I mean, I've done it. I've powered them
I
up.
think it's common. Because the data is for 485 at least is minus 9 volts for a mark and 9 volts for a space. Yeah, I think that they're expecting you to run power in here and it does the same thing. I think those are, I would check it with a meter. I'll bet you that they're just connected directly together.
It's supposed to be, I'll do that. It's supposed to be an isolated supply though.
Can't be too isolated. And it says 9 to 24 volts on both.
You know, maybe that's why I wasn't getting stuff to work though. I don't know. I'm going to mess with it some more.
Yeah, so the drawing on here shows 9 to 24 volts is all common to everything. And then there's a DC to DC converter that feeds the CAN converter or whatever.
Yeah, there's a CAN bus on there too.
And ISO.
But according to the docs, I can't use CAN bus and the RS 485 at the same time. It's one or the other.
What is the second DC to DC converter? Oh, that probably gives you the, so it takes the high voltage, makes 5 volts out of it. The second DC to DC converter kicks it up to the 9 volts that it needs for the RS5. But their little drawing that shows the circuit shows that everything that's V and G is tied together. So I'm,
In theory,
yeah,
if you believe the drawing.
well, I mean, their little drawing on the back of that keyboard thing you've got.
Maybe,
is kinda similar.
maybe that's what they're expecting. Maybe they're expecting you to put power in here if you're using,
Well, you can put it anywhere on that bus.
'cause they
That's
did
why
give-
it's
they
labeled
did-
as 9 to 24.
they did give us a power thing in the box. For the CAN bus. Oh, I'll try that. What I ended up doing, which should have worked because it's all the same. I ended up
Yeah.
doing that. It's all the same bus. It should have worked. It powered it up just fine. It powered up both of them just fine, but I could not get it to talk to them. So I don't know.
Hmm.
But that's what I ended up. They only gave us one CAN bus cable. It's got 2 CAN buses. The RS 485 is a single channel according to it. You know what? That may be the problem. I may have turned on all the things, and I probably should have only turned on 2 of the things. I don't know. I could not get it to talk to it. That's all I know. It's just like frustrating. Frustrating when you read the thing and it doesn't help. It's also frustrating when the example doesn't use what they recommend you use. So I don't think I explained. I showed those drives or one of those drives last week.
Mhm.
I don't think I explained very well what I was doing with it. Or why it was, why moving, 90 degrees, 360, 90, 180, 270 and back to why that was a big deal. The way they want to position is based on the encoder count. So you have to put in like an encoder count
Okay,
to get it to a certain thing. So I wrote the little program that I wrote converts like an actual degree to the closest number that I could get for the encoder count.
how many steps in the encoder? 1024?
That's
Higher? Oh, wow.
but relatively speaking, it's a really low count to get it. Like 90 is actually 9,000
Mhm.
ish. So I don't really think I explained. I don't know why they just didn't, in the library that they made for it, why they just didn't say do the math themselves, put a function in there to do the math and say, okay, I want it to go to 45 degrees, 45, blah, 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 math, go to this number. Because in my brain, I don't think, how many encoder steps do I need? I need to go to 45 degrees. Or I want to steer this thing to, 360.
Can you do like continuous rotation
Yeah,
at
yeah, yeah.
5 RPM or something?
Yes, you can do that too.
I-
But see, that's the other thing. They've got it in, would have to look. It's a huge, huge number for the current that you give to it, which it really is like milliamps, you know,
Mhm.
it's really not a huge number, but they make you put a big number in to get a little current out. And that confused the crap out of me too when I was first playing, because I was like, okay, I don't think I need 20,000 milliamp or 20,000 amps or whatever it was. No, it works out, you know,
0.002.
yeah. Why don't they just do the math in the library? So all I could do is say, I want 2 amps,
So
or I want a half an amp.
when you're specifying current, is that to control holding torque or something?
I'm not 100% sure. When the current's applied, it's relatively hard to move it. There's also a mode that it'll turn these into actual encoders, and you can turn it into, it'll tell you what the encoder count is, which is kind of cool. I'm not real sure why I would need that, but
Years ago, when I first started coming here, there was another fellow that was showing up pretty frequently. He was going to 513 at the same time. And I pissed him off by saying that they're just stepper motors with extra phase. And he was offended. No, they're not. I'm like, well, yeah, they are.
they kind of are. It's they do steps.
Yeah,
If you understand the math that they're looking for,
external commutation is a stepper motor. Internal commutation is,
it's
but
it's
yeah.
it is interesting to watch these, because they in their library they've got a way to read what the encoder is and all that. And even though you're telling it, you know, that's 360, whatever the math works out to, it never quite actually ever gets to the encoder count that theoretically it
Oh, really?
should get
That's
to.
kind of. Does it possibly overshoot and come back?
Maybe, but it's fast. So if
Yeah.
it's doing it,
You don't even have time to see the count go by.
and it's also possible that, you know, what I'm saying is 360 or 0 is off a little.
So is there a command to turn the light on and off? That's fine.
Yeah, and there's command, I'll plug it in, but there's commands, there's a light here too,
Oh,
and
okay.
there's commands to change its color.
Is it a push button too?
No,
Oh.
I wish. But the other, they make one without the slip ring,
Mhm. You
and
could put a push button on top of it.
you can put a push button. But the one without the slip ring, I think it would be much more suited to like the robot,
Mhm.
like doing robotic stuff and whatever. But
Oh, see,
I figured for
I
the,
think that's why they have slip rings, so you can stack the motors.
maybe,
Because otherwise you've got to
Well,
make
no,
coils
because-
for your wiring and
because
stuff.
that spins too, right? So how would you stack? If this
You
is,
unplug it here and you plug it in there
but,
and you set it on top.
okay,
And now this one could be 90 degrees off.
oh, that would be cool. Oh, then you could do,
And then you could put a third and fourth.
you could do like an arm.
Yeah. That's why I was seeing the slip rings as a cool thing, but how much current can those little slip rings carry?
I don't know.
The only time I ever did anything with slip rings was with those crappy little plugs that you put on the bottom of the telephone handset.
the of course, the example they show is a camera,
Mhm,
a tracking
mhm.
together. So that's what when I saw it, I was like, oh, well, that's cool. Like I said, I don't know that I necessarily needed the slip rings, but for $7 more, seemed like a really good deal.
Yeah.
They're sold out on these now.
Of course.
So, you know. Can you see this art at all? So
Uh,
probably not.
not really. You'd have to zoom in quite a bit.
When you aim the camera down in it.
I could try.
There you go. Lighthouse.
Okay, okay, okay.
So
Yeah,
both motors are supposed to be doing the same thing.
they look like they're doing the same thing.
And now you can't see the LEDs, but they are changing.
Well, no, you can see the light showing around the edge of the motor.
But they're off by 90 degrees.
They are, which I don't understand why they're off by 90 degrees. They kick.
These things have some torque.
They kick. They really do.
And
Yeah, they're off.
but they're not off by as much.
I
Now
don't
they're in
know
the
if
same
they're-
orientation.
I don't know if their tolerance was just not as good or
You can probably correct.
there's a setting in there. I haven't played with it yet, so I'm not. If you actually noticed, at least that last time, they're out of phase too. They're blinking at different rates,
Yeah. Okay.
and they shouldn't be. They should be blinking at about the same time. So
They both went to white, blue, yellow at the same time, red.
yeah, well, they're in
And
the,
now they're purple and it's alternating. Left, right, left, right.
and now if you look, they're off, or
Yeah,
are they
but perfectly off. Not a little off.
left and right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's the top speed on these things? Is
fast.
that it?
No. No, I had them going way quite a bit faster, but they were throwing themselves across the desk. So it slowed them down, and they're
Fast
still
enough.
throwing themselves across the desk.
Fast enough to lift a little helicopter.
Probably.
'Cause, I mean, that's what the motors are from.
Yeah.
Is that right?
They're quadcopter or
Similar.
similar. They're pretty light. I think you'd need a fairly substantial propellers or blades, but
Yeah, that'd spin an 8 or 9 inch blade probably.
Yep. yeah,
I don't think these wires would deal with it at all.
no, you'd have to. They jump. I mean, they really need to be mounted.
Mhm. Yeah, you need the Lego plate.
But yeah, when I was starting them from a dead stop, telling them to go really, really fast, one was dragging the other one behind. I'm like, that's not good. So those things are going to be cool to play with though, once I finally.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think the last mode where it flashes the different color LEDs,
Mhm.
I think that's the encoder mode where you can actually spin it. No, it's pretty. You can move it, but
it isn't going back to 0. Now they're pretty close to
Yeah,
the same direction.
they'll be off. They'll get off. Yeah.
What's that? Can they sit side by side? No. Sorry. Okay, wire to what?
All right. So
Um,
they should be 360 degrees off, right? If the LEDs are facing the other direction, but no, they're not. There's something kind of weird about it. So, and if you pick it up and you look at the LED screen, not the OLED
oh, on the
screen.
bottom. Oh,
It tells you all kinds of stuff down there.
mode speed.
If you hit the A button,
The
it'll
E is blinking. It's almost blinking.
I'm surprised it works as well as it does, considering there's no battery or anything.
I'm curious what the blinking E means. Encoder?
Maybe.
Well, now it's in mode encoder. Okay. Nope, that's not.
Now it's not.
Mode current. Mode position. Speed.
Yeah, now see, in my brain, position means go to a spot and stop, not drive around in big circles.
Stop.
After it does a whole bunch of stuff.
So address 64.
That one should be 65.
Very cool, except for that.
Yeah, well, you know,
So if you start them with them,
I've already
Lined
done
up.
that. I've already done that too.
no, okay.
I'm trying to cause one
Go out.
yeah, when it base sticks out from underneath it.
But the position should be relative
So-
to the base.
Yeah, so this one's the one that I just opened. This is the one that I was playing with last week. And 360 is like over here. This one's 180 degrees out. It's almost exactly 180 degrees. If I run
Holy
the,
crap, maybe it's a left and right.
why would they do that without telling you?
That's in the planned documentation.
Why wouldn't they say that on the website? You could get a left one or a right one. But when I ran the test code that I had made to go to 90 and, you know, the 360 degrees, the one is almost exactly 180 degrees out.
Does it turn the same direction?
So that's the other weird thing, right? So if I tell it to go to 360, when it gets to 360, and then I tell it to go to 90, it will go counterclockwise to 90. But if I tell it to go to 0, it will go clockwise to 90. And
Okay.
yeah, I know it's one of those quirky things that you've got to know where it's at
Mhm.
to know which direction it's going to go. But it's
Well, you should be able to query it to ask it where.
yeah.
it's-
You can. But I'm expecting it to be smart enough to go, well, 90 is right there. Why don't I just spin there? But no, I'm
Give
going to
it
go clear.
minus 90. I mean,
Yeah.
that sounds like what it needs.
You need to go. Are you at this position? Yes, okay, then everything needs to be inverted so it goes clockwise. Or whatever. At least right at the start. But once it gets to 90, it's fine. I mean, it'll follow around and do exactly what it's supposed to do. So. It's only seems like it's when it's starting at the starting point that I want it to start at. Now they look like they're right.
Because they're
360 degrees or 180 degrees out.
Hmm.
Go. Somebody put the guts in one of them upside down, backwards.
for the magnet. I'm assuming it's the Hall effect sensor and a magnet on the end of the shaft.
They're perfect. I mean, they're pointing at exactly the same spot, but
Yeah,
180 degrees out. It's perfect. Steve figured it out. I don't understand. I really don't. I don't know why they're different.
so how much have you opened these up?
I haven't.
I was curious if that LED is actually on the cap or there's a ring under it and it's just like a little light pipe,
Oh, yeah.
which would mean that there's two
I-
more wires on that slip ring.
I think there's more wires on the slipper, but I'm not sure. I haven't opened that up. And I know there's a way to turn it off. I saw it. I saw it in the library to turn it off. But I kind of like it. You know what it reminds me of is it reminds me of the hoverboards with their lights around the wheel.
On that, I just picked up two hoverboards matched. So
Cool.
I now have 4 hoverboard motors that I've probably never used.
Cool.
I don't have the chargers for them. Don't know what the state of the batteries is.
Those came off of the new printer. Isn't that an interesting color?
That's dirty Cisco. That is Cisco blue, but it's got darker speckles in it. So dirty
is.
Cisco.
Stone gray marble.
Okay.
Yeah. I was expecting a little more gray than whatever color that is. This is the last one I printed, and if you look, it printed fairly well. This would be the first one I printed.
You look pretty good to me.
Well, if you look right here on the edge, you can see,
Mm-hmm.
and if you look right here, it looks like it's off a little.
This one too.
But if you look at this one, it's only off a little right there. The edge looks pretty good. I kept tuning it. I hit the what is that? What, the one that shook the entire house. The What's I can't remember where it's at now.
This one has the best detail. You can see the plate on the back. Can't quite read it.
Huh?
Yeah, this one you can too.
Yeah.
I was curious what that filament was, and this blue one.
That's just some old gray filament that I had. But that one, there are tons of strings in that one.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
one,
well, that was part of why I was curious what the filament was.
that one's stringed up pretty bad.
And this one has no strings.
It had a couple, but I was able to get rid of them. I mean, it was pretty easy to get rid of just a couple. That's a pretty one. That one pretty. But the more I hit the button for it to shake the entire house, the better these prints are getting. So I think this was the first one I did. I think this was the second one. There's a lot of strings in that. And that was the third. And then I did that one and then that one. And there's some stringing on this one too. It's not bad. I think this is probably the best thread out of all of them. I like the texture on the bottom. So it's got a metal. The build plate is metal and it's magnetic.
Mhm.
What's really interesting, well, it shouldn't be interesting because metal cools. As soon as it cools, the stuff just pops off. It just,
Oh, yeah.
you don't even need to pull the flexible build plate off. You just let it cool down and it will just go, you'll hear it. It goes pop. And I'm like, okay, my print's done.
I never let anything sit that long. But yeah, that was one of the things that I really liked about the Prusa that I've got. Plus,
No, it's got a metal magnetic metal build plate.
yeah,
Guy on Thingiverse that made his where the build plate pops off. And it slides over and then slides back and leaves half of it hanging off the end and then grabs another plate and then shoves it off. And then start another print again. And you have like a stack of 19 plates or something like that, so you can do 20 prints at a time. That's kind of slick.
hard to keep that all aligned.
I saw a professional print shop that he had a robotic arm on a, you
So you
know,
can take the
a
plate off
track.
and put another one on or something.
No, it just came along and it just hit it.
Oh, yeah.
And whatever the print was would go into a basket
Like the next one.
and something would start the next one up and it would just move down the row.
Why don't you just use a conveyor belt one by then? And then one of the guys trying to do it, those are really bad. I'm like, hold on.
Yeah,
You gotta learn how to orientate them on a 45 and
Micro
print your
Center,
5-foot sword.
Micro Center was selling some of the metal build plate, magnetic metal build plates, so you could get extra and then just swap them out. I don't know why I would want to.
I'm pretty certain that the reality that I got from Ray is a metal plate.
Mine's got a glass plate on it.
So I don't. I never played with
Really?
On the reality,
I don't think it's really-
On the end?
Yeah. I think I've got a metal plate.
Mine had a glass plate. I am so upset.
Oh,
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's going to Steve. So
Oh, okay.
I bought a kit, I bought an upgrade kit, so I got both the glass and the magnetic plate or whatever.
with that the stupid clips on the Creality for the glass plate are horrible. Just horrible. So I bought some.
Real ones.
Binder clips?
No, those didn't work right.
Mhm.
They kept getting in the way. They kept hitting things. I bought their thumb wheel clip
Okay.
thing
little
in the
clamps.
box. Little clamp thingies. I haven't printed anything since I put those on there, but they seem like they're holding the glass plate on real well, so. I don't think you'll have a problem with them.
Yeah.
Speaking of. They were $1.70 on. Like I said, the Creality is one of the. I've owned dozens of printers at this point, and it's the only one that I've ever felt like I really need to mod. That thing just screams mods. mod.
And there are so many available
Oh
for
my. That,
Well, there's like video things for the under three mod kids.
oh, they're,
it.
it's not just that it has all the kits to do it, it needs some of these mods, some of these mods.
I was gonna say there's a guy I watched on YouTube or whatever, he goes through the under three and said, well, if you got an under three pro, you think you're great. Here's the first 20 things you need to print to make it work better.
I
Two or
put-
three of them are for the filament feeders.
So that was the very first thing that I changed was the filament feeder because the shaft, the screw shaft for where the filament goes is right next to where the filament goes.
Yeah.
Oh, what a stupid design choice.
So I like telling the guy was like, if you don't do this, for the first couple hundred hours, you're gonna need a new roller because you're gonna wear out the wheel.
It's not even that. It was my filament kept getting
Get
into
caught.
the screw. And
Oh,
I'm like,
the guy.
oh my
blocked it to
God,
keep it from getting
why
in.
is this such, why would they do this? Why don't they move this thing back? You know,
Yeah, this guy,
half an inch and it won't get tangled into the screw.
the guy, I like the thing, I might, stuff south down there really messed with mine, but he laid it out and redid the wiring and actually I think came back around and did like tracks for all the wiring to keep it out of the belt when you go real far forward.
One of the prints being one of those flex chains.
Yeah, basically, because I guess you go up so far, the wires get caught on the front motor or
I-
drop off and get caught in the
I haven't
aluminum extruded.
noticed that issue, but I mean,
You gotta make.
the
it
mass
all-
about a wire the mass of wire that comes up does kind of almost fall onto the bed as you're.
So that was one of the things I had an issue with on the Prusa. And I took a piece of little stainless steel flat ribbon that's in a windshield washer or wiper. Put that inside of it and bent it to where I wanted it to be, and that's worked really, really well.
Yeah, I just kind of sort of what I did, only I did it with wire ties. And as I was moving it, and putting it into the car, you're gonna need to do it again.
Okay.
You're gonna need to fix that again, because it. But yeah, why? Because they want you to mod it and make it better, I guess, I don't know.
I'm okay with that.
But I printed a little clip that is. It's basically a filament guide.
Mhm.
Eventually, you're probably gonna need to reprint those, because I printed it in PLA and eventually
It goes away.
it will go away, but. It is way better than.
Thank you.
Buying more printed ready.
I went to try to make one that's got a 450 by 225 print area. So two of them side by side. I figure I need to get 3 pieces of aluminum extrusion. And,
You said something, a table full of it.
oh, really?
No, I think I bought. Just took it out 2 weeks ago. They've been sliding around back there for like 3 months.
I've got a little bit, but not much.
Crazy what that crap costs.
My only,
What,
oh, that's good.
So
a pound is cheap.
I don't think you can really appreciate how nice that screen is on the camera. But in person,
That's very good.
You can put a flux capacitor on there or? I'm trying to think,
Iron Man's
Iron
kind of-
Man's, yeah,
Yeah.
logo under the chest.
I mean, it's a beautiful screen. It's
Yeah.
just,
Small.
I've still got one in my cart. Haven't,
you haven't pulled the trigger yet.
no. I've got like 20 or 30 things in my cart. And it's a bigger number than I'm willing to spend.
Yeah, but eventually you're going to spend all,
Oh, no, I go through,
you purge your
that's
card
not-
every now and then.
sometimes you talk about something and go, oh, that was crap. Whoop, go on.
Look, I'm really impressed with this screen. I don't know what to do with it, but I'm really impressed with it.
Every once in a while, Amazon removes things because the seller ran out of them.
Mhm. But it still stays there, it just says it's not available, so I can copy and paste the title of it and search for it again.
There's,
Dash. Make you a card dash. Speedometer.
Oh, yeah,
hook it up to the CAN bus and figure out stuff. I really don't know what to do with, I've got two of these screens. I really don't know what to do with either one of them.
thermostat.
If they had GPIO. See, in my cart on AliExpress, I've got a SD card breakout board
Mhm.
so that you can
Hook a
You-
ribbon cable to it.
use the GPIO off of the SD card.
Eh?
Yeah. The SD card is just it's 5 pins, 6 pins.
Yeah,
That it's just GPIO. So
Okay.
you could plug in this little adapter deal and it has a breakout thing with the 5 or 6 pins that,
so it's got positive and negative and a serial clock, serial data.
yeah, but you don't have, it's an ESP32. You don't have to use them for that.
Right.
You can use them for just general purpose,
Hmm,
general purpose.
that's cool.
So,
Can it do communication over USB?
Yeah.
There's your. That's what I've done. with it.
mount it to this and just let it drive around. You are under my power.
I'd have to have it do, I'm sorry. You can't do that.
The one that I've got from M5 Stack, the smaller one,
Mhm.
I've got a HAL I that
Mm,
fades up and fades down. And
That's actually one of the things I wanted to print for a, a couple years ago, they had a Raspberry Pi 3 voice recognition thing. I don't remember what that was called. I wanted,
Jarvis, was it Jarvis?
maybe, yeah, I think it might have used Jarvis. And I figure with a Raspberry Pi 5 behind it, it would probably be quick enough to be mostly usable.
You know, that's got a microphone in it. I figured out the sound. I can play audio through the thing. I haven't figured out the microphone yet though.
Kind of surprised it doesn't have a speaker built in.
I'm kind of surprised that if this was what I think it was used for, that it even had a speaker at all. But
Pull up, pull up, pull up.
Mhm.
That's what family said, who's got speaker?
Oh. Oh, I was thinking it was for a Nest.
Dash,
Yeah,
they're yelling at you.
I was thinking it was for a thermostat.
Mhm.
I don't know why you would need a speak. I don't know why you would need a microphone in your thermostat unless you could yell at it and say, turn down my,
It's a Google thermostat. Of course it has a microphone.
turn down my thing. Then why would you need an SD card? I said, it's a Google thermostat. Of course you do. It records everything.
One of the memes on Reddit I saw just a few days ago, yesterday maybe. Guy checks the disabled microphone and says, hey Google, what's the weather? The microphone's disabled.
That's pretty good.
Sounds about right, though.
You know, my
And Alexa listens to you regardless, so.
my devices actually have a physical switch to turn the mic off, and
Well, that's why I want to do the Jarvis and tie it into Home Assistant. I have the stuff running in my little world here.
I want,
Exactly.
I have
I don't
started,
know why there's no like open source projects really that do that. Everybody seems to get bought
There
out.
are.
Well,
Jarvis,
yeah,
Jarvis
Home
ties
Ass-
into Home Assistant.
Home Assistant.
I was saying that, so like the current whatever, you know, about the version of it is tied into like Google Analytics AI or something.
Yeah.
Everybody's integrating, you know, in everybody else's product. It's not like, I'm not aware of one that's like, there's not even a camera system left that you can spin your own. They all want to stream to the cloud, and you have to have some cloud account to view the,
Not if you buy cameras.
yeah,
You, and that's what I've got.
right. But it's
So
like,
if you look on the Wi-Fi, you should see this thing show up.
and it'll phone home probably.
Oh, no, this, right now, it's just its own access point. It's not connecting to any outside world.
I bet if you got a router, if you can track it, it's phoning home.
Almost, excuse me, certainly checks in every month. So I'm seeing
Should be ESP or M5
Adam
camera.
S3 cam Wi-Fi,
That's probably it.
Adam S3R
Yep,
cam
yep.
Wi-Fi.
That's it. So if you connect it,
Security weak.
yeah, because there is no security. If you connect to it and go to 4.1, you should be able to see what it sees. It's not connected to the Wi-Fi though. It's connected to, it's its own access point. It's a little ESP32.
Can you reset that name so you can have multiples?
Oh, yeah.
Or-
That's just
or
a-
that-
That's the default
Yeah.
sketch that's on there.
You go to what?
192.164.4.1.
Or 168.
168. You're right. I don't know what we're talking about. I'm just.
No, I just 192.164 world IP address.
I type 192 dot something and it shows right up, so. I don't even think about it.
I get a Google screen.
You get a Google screen. Are you connected to the camera? I'm not getting anything. Oh, because I am connected to,
I'm saying, I'm seeing a router.
that's weird. Connect. And it'll stay connected. Okay,
You said 0.4, point what?
0.1.
Well, I'm on some kind of router thing.
it keeps resetting. It keeps. This worked just fine at the house. The curse of the library strikes again.
Yeah, this looks like it talks to half the universe.
Why don't we connect? Did you try to connect, Mr. Steve? Maybe it'll only support one person connecting to it at a time. Okay. I don't know. I don't know why it's not connecting. I don't know why it's acting weird. Are you sure you connected to it, Barry? No, I mean, it'll show up in your network list as.
I'm sorry, compared to it, I mean, that's where all those papers are coming from.
Well, that's just weird. Well, try to disconnect from it. Let me see if I can connect to it. Let me see if it.
You should be able to connect multiple things instead of each server. Plus it only hands out one address.
Yeah, I'm not sure about. I mean, it's only an ESP32, so. But I've connected multiple things to ESP32s before. And I connected right away, so maybe it just didn't like. And it stayed connected. Yes, I want to continue to be connected. And this is what you should see. And if we stream it, you should see Steve. Steve should see Steve.
What's the resolution on that?
This one's only 0.3 megapixels, so what is that 640 by whatever?
480.
Yeah. For whatever reason, it didn't like multiple people trying to connect to it though. Maybe your Apple phone doesn't like it.
It was showing everything and I put it on umpteen zone and other networks, so. It was doling me out web pages.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the data turned on mine, so maybe it was having a problem. And then it was looking at the data. That's weird. I don't know. That was more expensive than it should have been.
What, how much was it?
$16, I think. It's got an IMU in it. It's got some GPIO on the back. It's got a.
That's basically what my company's trying to invent. That's hilarious. I could have done it for $16. year and a half of development with an Indian company.
You know, ESP32S3. It's got I2C on it. Actually, it's GPIO. So they've got another model out that's got a 2 megapixel camera. It's a little bit more. And I probably should have waited and bought it, because it was only a few dollars more. And it's supposed to be able to deal with the some of the AI models better than. Yeah. But I should be able to take this, mount it to this, and read the QR codes that are on my map and send the robot out. At least in theory. Or mount it to the motor and have it track the motor or track the robot. Put 3 cameras up. Where's the robot? These are my toys. These are all my toys for this week. I'm most impressed with my 3D printer. Of all my toys. Residence. That's what it's called. Residence. So I keep hitting the resident frequency button on the 3D printer and letting it shake. And I keep getting better and better prints. I have no idea what it's doing. I thought it was trying to dampen the vibrations.
Not to operate on residents.
Well,
But that's where it also moves the easiest. So maybe it's doing something with that.
I thought when you watch the when you watch it print, it doesn't shake. So I thought it was shaking to see where the movement was so that it could try to dampen the movement.
Damping the movement takes energy,
Yeah.
moving with the
Okay,
the
maybe
normal period.
maybe it's moving. Yeah, maybe. I don't know how it works. All I know is the more I hit that button, the better the printer.
Mhm.
It's magic. I've also hit the auto level button a couple times, which like I said, it doesn't really auto level unless it detects that it needs to. But every time I've hit the button, it seems like it's getting better. So
Really ought to do a print now in the pink or whatever was the first, just to make sure you're comparing apples to apples.
yeah. The blue seems like it gets pretty goopy.
Mhm.
Even at really low temperature, it seems like it gets really goopy.
I've got a spool of blue that's that shade almost, just a tiny bit bluer. That is the best printing stuff I've ever gotten, and I don't remember where I got it or where it's from, because I rewound it onto another spool. It's just
All-
sweet. I mean,
All my filaments so far has come from Microsoft.
and this probably did, but I don't remember it, and I've ordered a few spools online.
Yeah.
So
I bought I did get that spool, that small spool of TPU.
Mhm.
That's some neat, I should have brought the printer. That's some neat stuff. The new printer says that it'll do TPU, but it had a real problem with even the soft PLA.
Mhm.
It really didn't like the soft, and the TPU is even softer than the soft PLA. So I printed a base on the Flash Forge.
Mhm.
Awesome. I told it, I when I sliced it, of course, I said, you know, I'm printing TPU. Went through some settings. I changed one thing on it because the TPU wanted a slightly different temperature than what they said. The Flash Forge printed it. Beautiful print. And I was like, okay. It was no problem, no wrap, no brim, no nothing. It just printed it. Just beautiful.
Hmm.
I was expecting some issue based on the soft PLA, but
Yeah. I
it even,
printed anything and anything except PLA and ETG.
well, the soft PLA seemed to want to get clogged in the extruder when you went to take it out.
Mhm.
And I overcame that by, instead of telling it to retract, I told it to load, and I would just push it down a little bit further and then pull it out real fast.
Mhm.
And I did the same thing with the TPU because it was even softer, but it came out clean. It was, I took my little cleaning tool
Yeah.
thing. There was nothing in there. I was like, okay. I mean, unlike the soft PLA that I had to kind of clean it 2 or
Yeah.
3 times to get it out.
I don't clean nozzles, I just replace them.
I now have a pack of replacement nozzles,
Mhm.
but
I bought,
it
I think 60 of them for like $12.
I bought 24 for I think $3.
So, yeah.
But I I I've been cleaning the nozzles and doing all that because it just makes sense. I mean, especially on the Flash Forge. Biggest problem with the Flash Forge is it's slow. I mean, it's not a fast printer. And it's a small print bed. I mean, but it is what it is. I went to the Flash Forge website because I was curious about what it could and couldn't print. And it had wood and it had all kinds of stuff listed. And I'm like, cool, it'll print some of the exotic stuff that some of my other printers wouldn't. And I'm going to finally hook up this week the multi-material box to the Cobra 3 and play around with that. Because now I'm getting comfortable with how the the Orca software works. I'm getting more comfortable with it. Little fleet of boats.
You can make like the waves with your spinning things, put like a power on it.
I'm not allowed to show the grandkid any of those boats. They will. This, especially the nice shiny boat. The multicolored boat.
This is all in the bathtub with it.
She's got, I, obviously I've got dozens benches. She's got a bunch of them in the bathtub. Why don't these float, Papple? I don't know. I need to make a big benchy so it'll float, don't I? Yes.
Another boat.
Oh.
It's a real boat.
Got the got that going on. I made those dragons for the other grandkid. 5.5, 6 hour prints on the Flash Forge, and they were smaller because the print bed's smaller. So I printed the normal size on the Cobra 3, 3 hours for the bigger print. So now I blew the bigger print up to the entire size of the bed of the Cobra, just to see 5.5 hours for a huge. I could have made huge dragons in the same amount of time as I made a bunch of small dragons.
Yeah, print faster.
Oh, faster is not.
Not even the word.
The faster is not the word. And you see the quality. I mean, all those came off of the Cobra 3, and not one of them is what I would call bad. I mean, there's some issues here and there, but none of them are bad. I think a lot of it comes down to the material,
Oh,
right?
that's like 90% of the 3D printing, from what I understand, is just the plastic and knowing it inside and out. How it works on the printer.
Yeah, like, I mean, that's not bad, but if you look inside, there's a lot of little stringies inside. It's not a bad print. This one had some, well, there's still some string. It is not a bad print. And for a first print, without doing all the resonance and all that stuff, I'd put that up against any of the other benches and go, yep, fine. Ship it. I do like as I get more and more accustomed to how this printer works, I'm getting better and better prints. Stringage seems like it's the biggest issue, but even that, I've seen worse.
Yeah, I think I tried something in nylon. That was awful.
The TPU did string quite a bit more than I thought it should, but I think that has more to do with probably the heat, because I don't think the Flash Forge has a real good temperature sensor in it. So I think it was trying to overheat it when it was. So I probably need to lower the temperature a bit and try it again, but I don't know.
Used to do the strain gauge on nylon plastic. Then you hit the end of the machine and you're like, now what do we do? That didn't break.
I like. I'm gonna start printing some tires and stuff for various things. Out of that. TPU, that stuff's neat stuff.
Yeah. I saw tank tracks printing TPU once, they were kind of cool. Didn't see them on the tank, just saw the tracks themselves.
Yeah. I want to print a couple of wheels. That'll fit over that. But I really want to mount those and make it turn it into something.
Probably car.
Do these get threaded holes you can get into?
So if I take that slip ring off,
Mhm.
there is a big threaded hole, I think. I think it's threaded in the center. Which probably is where the propellers mounted to originally. You're probably right, that probably came right off of a drone.
You can just take out these 4 screws and use longer screws. Or maybe not even longer screws
Longer for what?
to mount your wheel.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the goal, gentlemen. Want to build one of these.
Yeah, well, no. We need that. That's almost a Batmobile.
Nice.
That's at least a modern Batmobile, right?
I think it looks pretty cool.
You see down in there?
Yeah, orange, brown, green, red, black, and yellow.
There's a lot,
Assuming each one of those is an individual wire.
there's a lot of wires up in there. Why wouldn't you know it was wires?
2 just for the LED, 4 for the SPI or
I see,
I2C.
if you take the slip ring off, you've got the holes, the mounting holes, that's probably where the props were mounted.
I mean, if you want to find out, I've got an on.
Oh,
Or it goes to the beach today.
that's probably. What?
The GPS was screwed up, so he got off on Fremont instead. Took a picture of it. I guess he was going past Disney World. Up to the they bought St. Flavors this
You know what I need to do? I need to print submarines and battleships and aircraft carriers, and then we can have a big old game of battleship.
with lasers.
With lasers.
And lasers.
We took to your CDG security the other day. Somebody asked them about if they had troubles with lasers. Like, oh yeah, we just prosecuted somebody from Ohio.
Nope, I don't have an Allen wrench that would fit that. Biggest I've got is 2 millimeter, and that's 3 or 2.5.
Lasers.
I thought it odd that they could actually track somebody down and arrest them for it. I'm not a scope vision city to see that.
Satellite.
The satellite would pick up a hand laser, somebody told me on a plane.
Nothing surprises me anymore. They could have had a drone up in the air.
They know with great precision where the plane is. If the pilot can give a direction.
Well, I was saying, I wouldn't even think the pilot would even know if somebody beaming a laser on it. They don't look out the cockpit. Hardly at all. They're just looking at instrument panels. On a commercial jet plane, there is no screen to talk of. Oh. 3.5 feet, where the switches instruments. We don't do any legal flight.
I don't agree with you on that.
No, I'm taxiing around on the ground about the only time we look out of window.
I would not be comfortable landing a plane without being able to see the ground.
I know you probably won't be able to see the ground, but you should be able to see it out.
Well, they can't. Like I said, they got a window like that, but I mean,
Yeah.
your dash of instrumentation's like that. And that's what they're
But
looking
it's split, it's also above,
at.
so
Yeah,
that they can get the window down to where it needs to be.
but I mean, that's, they're
And-
not looking out that window while they're in flight. Usually.
But
They might be
all of those
looking for
lights all
spotlights.
around the airport are there so that you can do
It's-
a visual landing.
it's a
Oh,
visual-
red, I'm too high.
Well, yeah,
It's a visual.
those planes don't land themselves for a long time. It's still there if their computers have gone out, but those pilots don't land those planes for the most part anymore. They're just there if something's
It
off.
depends on
I
the
wouldn't let a
airport.
Tesla drive me around either, so.
I'm
It,
just
it
saying.
depends on the airport, because there are still a few airports that don't have the
Not-
auto land. I know there's not many, there's a few. I said a few.
Pilots are there pretty much just in case something goes wrong.
I knew a pilot that considers himself to be a bus driver.
Yeah. I don't know, I watched quite a few of the pilot videos and whatever. I think they do more work than just saying some buttons and
Mhm.
I'm surprised how easy it is anymore.
I don't know. That one pilot, mentor pilot. He's let people go into the simulator who think that it should be easy for anybody to land one.
Well, that's the thing.
And it's not as easy as you would think.
Time you are flying a commercial airline pilot, you've got probably almost 10,000 hours or better flying stuff. But it is highly automated.
But there's a lot of automation.
They're usually IFR pilots.
So I had my pilot's license. I worked at Hogan Airport in Hamilton, which is now Hamilton, New Mexico. I had quite a few hours in. I enjoyed it. It was fun. I have never been able to land a simulator. It's just not the same.
Not
He's got these big 747 simulator,
Mhm.
you know, industrial, commercial. They check pilots out on them,
Yeah,
kind of deals.
it's probably a little better than what I was
It-
playing with.
Probably a little better than what we would normally have access to. But I've watched a couple of his videos where people have said, you know, it's easy. You just click a couple of buttons and you do this, and it's like,
Go ahead.
go ahead. And then they get in there and they go, oh, wait.
Why are there
There's
8,000 buttons?
Yeah.
20 this isn't the same as Microsoft Flight Simulator. You're right, it's not. And you know, for the most part, or for a large portion, they can tell somebody who already knows something about flight, what buttons to hit and
Yeah.
how to line stuff up. But you have to have some clue in the first place.
I always assumed if I ever was the guy that has to land the jet, I'm hoping I'm near water, because I think that's probably the safest thing. Just let it slowly fall into the ocean.
Skip along the top of it.
Yeah,
Hope you don't cartwheel.
yeah.
Yeah, I think there was one civilian that was able to actually land successfully out of all the videos I've watched, but most of them will either land way too short or way too late and end up crashing
Well,
anyway.
When you're within a wingspan of the ground, you have to push the plane down. And that's a weird thing. That just doesn't feel right. First 4 or 5 times I tried to land, I licensed on a Cessna 152, I think. And holy crap, you float past the end of the runway. So I go, well, shit, now what?
Cessnas are great ground effect planes.
Yeah. And
Vipers, not so much.
really? I would like a Cub.
The Piper Tomahawk,
Okay.
it'll still glide on it, but it can fall right through it too.
Yeah.
I didn't know that till later, but that's why they're called Widowmakers. It's like, wait, what? More people die in Tomahawks than I guess any other small aircraft. I enjoyed my flight school in Tomahawk. I did fall through ground effect once, stopped right through it. Bounced off the runway and went back up and landed back in ground effect and flew off the end of the runway.
I only had a couple, I never actually finished my schooling. I only had a couple of lessons in a glider.
Yeah.
Glider
Oh,
got
cool.
I'd be scared of a glider because then, like, when you need power, you're like, you got it, so it don't matter. You're coming down.
Power's overrated.
I don't know now. You can put a small battery pack and an electric motor on a glider.
Be kind of slick.
Yeah.
Now, when I got
That's
enough,
few extra 100 feet to make it to a runway.
I got enough instruction to know how to look for the thermals, know where to look. I don't really remember
Pay attention to your tufts.
any of that, but I got enough instruction to know how the actual instructor landed both times, the 3 times that I was in it, but I got enough to get like basics of it. But landing it probably would scare me. Okay, you land now. No. Okay, we're down.
I got a friend that's got maybe with gliding stuff and talking to me doing a little bit. I like having a powered engine, looking for the runway part.
The only thing that ever freaked me out, I was 7 years old and I remember it like it was yesterday. My dad put me in a open cockpit, Waco, old biplane. Freaked me the hell out. Cause I was sure I was gonna fall out.
I've never been in one of those, but I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
Well, I
would
was 7 and
Yeah. Oh, I get it.
you don't really rationalize things the same way when you're 7. You don't realize there's centrifugal force keeping you in that thing.
Well, I wouldn't have drove it upside down either. Though.
Yeah. I would love to have a Fokker triplane as an ultralight, because I mean it's pretty darn close to that already.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be a tiny little plane. I mean, most people do not realize how small that plane is. That'd be fun.
But somebody,
And then I could mount a gun.
like, when he made us selling a red bearing, we had parked in his garage and he was moving. Yeah, the one part of anything for it, couldn't move, you didn't have a choice, it's like, I gotta get rid of this, somebody trying to pick it up. It's like
Oh.
$5,000 out of it. And it was like, God, I can afford that. Like, I don't need to know that.
I've been in helicopters and Cessna 150s and 172s. I've been in Wacos and Broncos and half a dozen different planes. And I never was a pilot of any of them. I got to fly some of them, but I never. The only one that I ever really wanted to learn how to fly was that glider. When we took the glider, went for a gliding ride, I was like, I gotta learn how to fly this. This is cool.
I'm kind of like, learn how to do a helicopter.
Oh, no,
No.
no. There is nothing on a helicopter that can break and you can safely land. Nope.
Sure you can. That's why you got that reverse rotary procedure.
Yeah.
I've landed a plane on the simulator on that.
You can auto gyro.
Yeah, you can, in theory.
Well,
I
think so.
repelled out of a helicopter in the Army at one point, and all I could think the entire way down was if I drop off of this rope, if I'm too high up and I drop off of this rope, is it stretchy enough to go back up and get caught in the rotor? Because then I'm gonna really hurt really bad when that helicopter falls on me. I'll already be in pain and then I'll die.
I enjoyed. I've only been in a couple of helicopters, but I've enjoyed that both times I was in.
They are abominable vehicles. They are too noisy.
They are noisy.
They rattle too much. There's no margin for error on anything. For every hour it's in the air, it's in the shop for 2.
The one thing that I mean, we're talking about seeing out of something. A helicopter, or at least the ones I was in, have like a glass bottom. You can actually see out.
So you know when you're gonna die.
So you know
You can watch it come.
you can see it
You
happen.
can see the tree line coming at
The
What's that
pilot
sheep doing in these clouds?
you.
the pilot was flying over my house and he kept saying, you know, where do you live? And I told him, he said, oh, there's your house. I didn't recognize it. I mean, I've never seen the house from the top, right? I've flown over this house dozens of times. I've never seen it because I mean, Barry's right. You do kind of got that tunnel thing of
Well, what does it say? I flew, I did all my flight school in a Tomahawk. It's a low wings. You don't see anything below you. Everything's just up.
oh yeah.
So it's like there's no ground, so you gotta believe the instruments. I mean, you can nose over and look at the ground. Can't land it nosed over. You gotta land it going sky high.
And the helicopters, you see the ground coming. Hey,
Yeah, it's like,
we're getting ready to land. Don't look at the ground if you're freaking out. Okay.
yeah. You look for, it's like some of the runways and airports, like you said, you got the lights, because I mean, I was visual pilot, and you can see the lights because they're on poles. And I don't see concrete or nothing until the wheels touch down and the nose does that.
Really?
Yeah,
I wouldn't be good with that.
To tell you the first time, it was a very interesting experience.
I've been in a couple of low wing. I've been in most of the planes I've been
It's
in.
like, cause you don't know what's underneath you, it's like, yeah, I saw a runway 2.5 miles back, but that was, before I had to put the flaps down and kick back 15 more degrees. Now I don't see shit.
Yeah. I know.
You start seeing the poles go by and you're like, all right, I must be between the concrete down there somewhere.
The ground's close. I can see it.
Oh, the ground's close. No, still don't see it. I can see some green shit over on the left. And I'm assuming there's concrete below me.
The ground. It's the ground.
And then the back wheels hit, and then the nose drops down a few degrees, and then it's like, oh, there's the pavement. Yay.
Yeah.
Out of airplanes. And I had the Revell B-52 with a
Oh,
3.5 foot wingspan. And I had a Fokker triplane that would easily roll under.
yeah.
And one of my cousins came over once, and said, why don't you build everything in the same scale?
It is.
It is. Ah,
And you could have put the triplane in the bomb bay on that B-52 and just dropped it out.
Yeah.
It would have been fine.
it's
Maybe-
fine.
Yeah.
They were
As long
showing
as you're, 1,000 foot up, you're
You
good.
got time to start the engine and fly around a little bit, you can come back.
They were showing that, oh, which one was it? Is it the B5 Galaxy? The huge nose one that popped
Oh,
up?
yeah.
And they taking the wings off one of like the other bombers was putting the fuselage inside the.
There was a video I was watching about planes that never really ever got. There were concepts that maybe one got
Yeah,
built,
a couple prototypes.
but there was one that had probably 100 little tiny midget planes inside of it that
Oh,
they just open the back and
Yeah.
start pushing these little fighter planes out. It was a flying aircraft carrier.
They built one and used it not many times. It was a dirigible.
Yeah.
With hooks. And
Well, this
the
was-
planes would fly up under it and then back off the throttle.
Yep.
And
Get
land
hooked.
on the hook.
So this thing was an actual plane, not a blimp. But to recover planes, that was basically what they did. They would hook them up and fling them up into the hangar bay. And they could, according to them, they could do 6 a minute or something, which was incredibly fast.
Yeah.
They could deploy them just as fast because they could just push them out the back.
Yeah.
Go. But they had, I think one got built, but it never made it. It never really did what it was supposed to do.
kind of like throwing people out of the back of planes in a tank.
Kind of, yeah. At least you got
Once
a
in
parachute.
Vietnam, and all the guys said never again.
I couldn't imagine being a tiny little fighter plane clamping onto a plane and getting flinged back up into the bay. And then you're still attached and they're moving you with this big crane to put you where you belong. So, holy,
We'll throw you right back up. Not done yet.
refuel, go.
Here's another rocket.
It's almost 7, Mr. Art. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
I did.
We'll be back next week. I'll see you guys. See you later.
So are we virtual next week or not?
You know, we should be live next week.
Okay.
We're a little shorter. I think 6:30, but we should be live.
Oh, okay.
I will try to remember to send the email earlier.
Have a good week.
You too. Bye.